right, what is going on, everybody? Good morning. Happy Monday. You guys have me all really excited for this session. You are really a happy bunch. It's contagious. I'm really excited to be working here together with you. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. We're going to be taking a look across the markets. It's Monday. We got a lot to talk about. It was a fantastic weekend connecting with all of you on Twitter. You guys are really just continuing to improve, bringing the fire and the heat yourselves all the time. Absolutely love it. Before we get into the title of today's episode and show, something's going on. Either Google is or YouTube is like removing massive amount of likes. Maybe they don't believe that our like ratio is real, or you guys simply gave up on liking the videos. Go ahead if you're listening now and smash the like button. Let's go ahead and get back into this flow that we normally have over here. BNB is actually exploding again. I think it's going beyond the solar system. It's leaving and it's gone. This is on news that Binance, well, this is not particular. There is news from Binance that everyone's familiar with already. They're going to be offering tradable tokens first, launching Tesla. They'll be traded during market hours. Of course, you have to fit their KYC wherever they allow it. Will they allow it in Binance USA? I seem to doubt it, but they only mention those that are not eligible for this are those that are in China, Turkey, and some other places. So perhaps it might be open to those in the USA. Look, this was brought up over here this morning in the stocks channel. People saying that, look, we might have to rethink the Bitcoin exit strategy. Yep, because there will be a lot of people that will be interested in pivoting over into stocks. That's for sure. BlockFi, the CEO of BlockFi, is also saying they want to do the same. CZ and his team, once again, innovators ahead of the curve over there. I don't think it will just be Tesla. I think many other companies will be added as well. Let's check out a Brad's chart over here this morning. Let's move over to Bitcoin's trading at 60,474 and has been consolidating here for about the last 48 hours. It's consolidating above our resistance over just above the 60,000 area, consolidating just below all-time highs. Of course, we are all still aware of a possible shakeout that could occur. But, obviously above this level, things are just looking uber bullish. We all remain fully positioned, probably and more now, as myself is above this level over here. What would go ahead and be the beginning indications that we're seeing some technical damage and that we might see this quick shakeout? By the way, if we do see a shakeout, I do believe it's going to be really, really quick. And it's going to rip up to the upside just as quick. And then we're going, in my opinion, to the melt your face up move. Will it happen on Wednesday as Coinbase's IPO goes live? I don't know. I don't know how connected they are. I think Bitcoin is being Bitcoin. Let's see if we get it this session. The S&P has recovered overnight off its lows over here. It's basically opened up unchanged. Equity markets opened up in about 22 minutes. Nasdaq's off a little bit. Not much to read into it. It looks very bullish right over here, right below all-time highs, just like Bitcoin. Both of them sitting below all-time highs. We saw Powell speak over the weekend. I don't really want to get into that. Maybe at the end, if we will. It's all a sham. There's nothing else really to say about that. So we'll leave that be for now. I do want to talk about the dollar right over here as it's coming back and it's testing last week's low over here. Continues to be under pressure. We are continue to monitor it, whether or not the dollar holds over here in this area, even as far as low as this trend line over here coming in right around 91.64. Waiting for a breakout to the upside unless we breach this level. If we breach this level, taking a circle, putting it over there. And at that point, we'll have a really weak dollar bias. If you didn't see this little GIF over here, this is in the next 3 weeks, the U.S. Treasury is selling $370 billion in treasuries. The highest monthly issuance ever. We're going to watch how that affects the dollar. We're not going to say what we expect, what kind of effect we expect this to have on the dollar. We're just going to watch the dollar. We're going to watch the lines. We're going to watch price and make sure we stay on the right side of that trade. My biggest concern is that we enter some type of chop. We've been sideways on the dollar, coming back over here. Where is it? It was right around the 1st of January, our first session, at least January the 4th, where we saw that we were going sideways. We're still going sideways. Choppy over here in this range could be the hardest thing to maneuver against. We'll do our best, that's for sure. Let's get back over to take a look at Brad's view of Bitcoin over here. And you can see that we continue to hold this trend line over here. Breaking this trend line, would that be your first indication that we are looking at the shakeout? right? Is that the question you're asking yourself? Let's dive a little bit into Bitcoin a little bit. Let's focus on the technicals. By the way, if you're listening here this morning, if you're sharing the time together, I am so grateful for you here. I do ask you to go ahead and smash that like button. We only have 500 likes about 5 minutes into the session. Let's really get going over here. And let's also keep an eye on whether or not these likes disappear. It's happening to Heath on Trade Talk. It's happening over here. The mods, you guys are absolutely insanely great, are continuing to watch what's going on over there. Either which way, Bitcoin, let's take a deeper look over here. Bitcoin trading at 60,445, looking pretty good over here. What would cause the first indication that we're seeing a shakeout? Jordan, what are you talking about a shakeout? Bitcoin right now is trading right below the all-time high. It looks extremely bullish. Yeah, it's uber bullish. We're all fully positioned and more at this point. What would make me lighten up on this trade in order to protect any lightly leveraged trades? That's the question that I'm looking right now. You can see in the first cycle right around here right now, we had this massive shakeout, but do notice it was a quick shakeout to the downside and recovered just as quick. As soon as it makes new all-time highs, it's a melt your face off move. This also happened on the second cycle. You can see this right around the same exact time. If we look at, I don't have the chart up, or do I? If we look at how many blocks after the halving, the first cycle is just a few blocks ahead of the second cycle. So right here, we on the third cycle. Are we going to see this V-shaped shakeout that occurs? And if it occurs, you have to be prepared. We're going to have a quick impulse up and then leads to melt your face off. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm watching over here. Will a lot of leverage traders be shaken out over here? That's the question. I want to make sure I lighten up my leverage, being fully positioned right now. If we get any type of technical breaks, the first thing that I see is Brad's over here. The trend line break would come around just under $58,000 from where we are today. Maybe even a little lower. I'm not going to get it precise because things look really healthy right now, but I still want to always have that risk adverse awareness. What else could we look at over here? Let's focus in on where the top of the bull flag resistance now should be support is coming in, just so we have an idea. I'm going to go ahead and just make this quick by cloning that line and then just bringing it over here, just so we have an idea, right? So what would that be? That brings us towards the area of 50,500. What type of pullback is that from where we are currently right now? That would be a 15% pullback. I mean, the odds of that happening on Bitcoin, of course. That's just like a normal day for the volatility of Bitcoin. So just watching out for that. A break below that. So I think Brad's trend line over here, a break below that is the first place that I would be looking to lighten up. I will, after this session, go ahead and set my orders. A break below there. And then if we broke below, the bull flag resistance now should be support area. And that's coming in this low over here. They're coming in the same place. The low from March the 25th over here, and their most recent swing low, and this area of should be supported coming in the same area. If we break below that low over here, at that point, I have to lighten up further. Something's not right, and at that point, we'll be here together, and we'll be talking about what is next. My base case is, and as you all know, as we're sitting here uber bullish over here, that we actually hit the melt your face off move without the shakeout, but I'm prepared for them both. There's no question about that. Watching and seeing what's going on over here. Here's the look at Bitcoin halving. This is by block count. You can see right here in the first cycle in blue, this is that shakeout. And then in the second cycle in red, this is that shakeout. This has not been updated in a couple of days. We're actually a lot closer there to that area. It's something to watch out for and have that situational awareness at all times. Jordan, Pi cycle crossing today. That's invalidated 100%. We were talking about that over the weekend. Just let me fast forward over here just so everyone is on the same page. Pi cycle triggered. Let's see what happens. We noted for weeks now, a cross here was erroneous and irrelevant. If there's a shakeout here, nothing to do with the Pi cycle cross. In my opinion, for those that, whoever created the Pi cycle indicator, back tested that thing, he's come out and said, listen, it's wrong here if it crosses. We were on top of that. Could people exiting because of erroneous cross cause this shakeout? No. I think that if we have the shakeout, I mean, we were watching and paying attention before the Pi cycle was erroneously crossing here. I don't think that's really for something to us to focus on, but good awareness that it's actually occurring. And Jordan, after exiting near the Bitcoin peak, okay, isn't the altcoin bull run still maturing, right? There's a couple to a few weeks left in that. So why not exit to alts, exiting near their peak, and then exiting into something like gold, Bitcoin, one of the strategies to deploy deploy perhaps in exiting Bitcoin. Thanks for all your content. Listen, it's a tradable event and it's for experts. We will talk about it. I will make sure to actually hyper focus in on that for anyone who wants to prepare. When that gets done, probably within the next couple of weeks. Let's get everyone prepared for what it would look like. And by the way, what a great sign for the top. What a great sign for the top. If we see a couple of weeks before Bitcoin's expected to peak, we start seeing alts making their move. That's another indication that we have that situational awareness and everything continues to be lined up. Remember, it's just a plan. They're all models. All models could break, but I have to say this far in and for quite a distance here, we continue to be on point, and let's continue to play that, but we will look further at that for sure. That's a good one over there. Just a couple of headlines, just headlines. I'm not reading the articles over here. Futures global stocks hover at all-time highs. As Q1 earnings begin, they're expected to be blockbuster. Low inflation and dovish central banks should limit the rise in bond yields during the recovery. Well, I don't know about that. I think we're going to see some heavy, hot inflation prints coming up. Let's see how the bond yields react to that. Is Bitcoin displacing gold as an inflation hedge? Inflation, just reading headlines over here. I don't think gold's an inflation hedge, by the way. Gold is a way to save, to protect your purchasing power. Bitcoin is also the same thing. I don't look at Bitcoin as an inflation hedge whatsoever. Now, if we run into any type of massive inflation and or hyperinflation, is Bitcoin the best bet in all of that? Of course, unquestionably. There's no question about that. Bitcoin, regardless of what was happening over here, was going to continue to do its thing. You're looking here at the first cycle during QE, and you could see this uber easy monetary conditions with a low market cap sent Bitcoin flying. Second cycle had tighter conditions, and Bitcoin still did its thing. Bitcoin was set to do its thing regardless of what's happening, but this is all rocket fuel. Let's see what happens, continuing to monitor the markets day in and day out. Q1 will blow out expectations. Then what, right? What happens next? Everyone's always looking for that crash. We continue to monitor the equity markets from afar. They're not that interesting, but if they're setting up or any type of indication that we're going to see a correction or a crash, I just want you to know, even though the tagline is the markets are not crashing, when they are crashing, we will be there as we were back in February and into March of 2020. And that's all we were focusing on, way ahead of the curve, making sure that we are a part of that. And it was fun. Listen, let's take a look at what gold is doing this morning. You can see gold is maintaining above, back into the channel, just zooming out a little bit. When I say channel, I'm looking at this trend line support that's coming back from early August up until just breaking back above it last week, and then the upper end resistance. We've regained this channel, now coming in for a retest. Neutral, let's see what happens. Silver looks a little bit better than neutral. Why do I say that? You can see that we have on silver a breakout, and now coming in for a retest. It's currently holding, looking for the resumption up. So silver technically here looking pretty good. Let's see if it's able to make a new swing high, and if it does, then we're targeting the resistance at 26.32. See what happens once we get into that. You can see over here, as Bitcoin looks like it's getting ready to make its next leg up over here, the gold Bitcoin, one of the easiest trades of 2021. Is that setting up one of the easiest trades of 2022? The other direction? Well, if you're paying attention, but you can see that we might be getting ready here to make the new leg down over here, new yearly lows, and that's going to actually, if Bitcoin breaks out, that's going to explode to the downside. What else are we looking at over here? We have a couple of things that I want to talk about. Jordan, this is, listen, if someone's asking the question, other people also are thinking it, that's for sure. What happens if the sell signal is on a weekend, right? And GBTC is not trading? What do? Listen, don't overthink it. Just wait for the market to open up on Monday. And if that's the best available time to opportunity to exit the trade, exit the trade. If not, then, trade accordingly. But don't get like, the exit is so difficult and getting it right is going to take a lot of work, which is why we've been pairing it for so long. But don't think that if I exit on the weekend that your Monday exit might not be better. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. All right. So what else? What else do we got going on over here? We spoke about the GBTC premium over the weekend. Jason was bringing up a thread on that we were talking about. I want to talk about this. All right. What we're looking at over here, this is actually the title of the show. Is this bull market that we're seeing fundamentally different from all the rest? All right. We're looking over here, and you're probably familiar with this chart. You're looking at the net volume of Bitcoin to and from all exchanges. And you can see over here in red, as Bitcoin continues during this bull market run to see record outflows of Bitcoin, right? Is that fundamentally different this bull market cycle than the last? Well, listen, this is not so easy to answer, but I want you to think about a couple of things over here. Here's the last bull market, by the way, about halfway through. As we are about halfway through, we have about another 5 or so months left. In the last 6 months, Bitcoin has basically gone from 10,000 to 60,000, right? A 6x move. Do we have another 5, 6x in it, in the next 5 months? Why I do believe so. Here you could see this is when you started seeing in the last cycle, you started seeing Bitcoin returning to exchanges, people getting ready for the exit over here. And you could see at this point when the cycle peaked, there was an all-time high of Bitcoin on exchanges. When I say all-time high, from what I'm looking at, all-time high on exchanges. And now we're looking over here, basically an all-time low. Is this different? Does this mean that we're going to see a super cycle? A couple of questions to ask yourself. A lot of people these days are trading what? They're trading Bitcoin with leverage on exchanges, which means they're able to hold less amount of Bitcoin on the exchanges, right? And then that continues to grow during the bull market over there. If you have right now any Bitcoin in a hardware wallet, are you going to be sending that to the exchange, anytime soon to prepare to exit? Me personally, there's no way, right? So do I think that we would see over here at this particular point in the bull market phase, Bitcoin actually headed towards exchanges? Or do you think that enough people are trading derivatives, futures right now across all different markets that they could have actually less Bitcoin on the markets? We also see, obviously, something is hugely fundamentally different. You're seeing corporations buying billions of dollars of Bitcoin and then moving that into cold storage. That there's no way you could argue that's not fundamentally different. But here's the thing, right? People used to ask, how is it possible Bitcoin is going to have $1 trillion market cap? How is it possible it's going to trade above, $100,000? And they just didn't understand that 3 or 4 years ago. They couldn't wrap their head around it. Well, how that is happening is you're seeing, huge institutions coming in. You were seeing huge amounts of, now we're seeing public companies coming in, taking positions, and this is definitely fundamentally different, but there's no way the price of Bitcoin gets to $60,000 and $100,000 and $200,000 without that happening. And how does Bitcoin next cycle get to $500,000 and or $1 million? How does that occur? Are we looking at nation states adopting Bitcoin? Are we looking at central banks adopting Bitcoin? Or is it just, not only corporate America, but corporations worldwide adopting it? All that's going to happen. But here's what I am focused on. And I want you to focus in on this. This is a clear cycle that you could see: the bull market phase, the bear market phase, the cycle low, and then the accumulation phase. It's surrounded by the halving event. Some of you who have done our training sessions know this is the exact same thing as the Wall Street cheat sheet, the psychological of a cycle, of a market cycle. This is the halving event that sets off the bull market phase, which then has the parabolic move, right? And then over here, it has watch this over here though. Let me help you see it. This is the 2017 bull market cycle in Bitcoin. This is the halving over here. And you could see this sets off the bull market, then the parabolic move, ending in the vertical blow off top, and then like really quick sell-off, approximately 40-50% that happens within a couple of weeks, right? Big sell-off, and then the bounce of hope. Okay, it's going to get back there. It's going to return. This is your last chance to exit, by the way, if you miss the exit. This is what Willy Woo looks at for his exit. Okay, I exit on the way up when there's more volume. If you're getting scared over here and you miss this exit over here, this is your last opportunity to hope. We'll be watching as it happens, and then you see the bear market set off. You see a 70% move down on Bitcoin, first cycle and second cycle in 6 weeks. So it's going to be a big wake-up call to those who are looking for this to be a super cycle if they see Bitcoin come off 70% in a 6-week period over here. And then again, you have the bear market, the grueling, wearing bear market that ends in capitulation, cycle low, approximately 15 months to the next halving, and we do it all over again. Until this breaks, I assume that this is the model. By the way, if we exit over here and up here, right, is there a possibility that we are going to see hyperinflation take place in the next 6 months? listen, anything's possible. Oil traded negatively in 2020. If you come over here, just really quick, if you come over here, classic Jordan, right? So this is a conversation that's taking place, and people are saying that right now, Bitcoin, I don't believe this. Bitcoin is a shadow monetary tool. It's actually a buffer, right? For the middle class, as you're seeing, instead of, like, I say this with jest, the real estate market exploding to the upside, right? All assets across the board exploding to the upside. The fact that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are rising, it's basically like providing a look over here buffer, helping those other assets not appreciate as much. I don't believe that to be true personally, right? What they're saying over here, and this is what I want to share with you, it's basically saying if we hit any type of hyperinflation and Bitcoin goes offerless, at that point in time, regulation will come in, right? And they're going to say that, listen, the cause of the inflation is Bitcoin. We need to put a stop to it. Is that something that could happen in the future? Of course, there's no question about that. We are not even close to that happening right now. We see no signs of hyperinflation taking place. There's a great conversation taking place, though, on the macro channel inside the Discord, talking about what it would look like perhaps if they are looking to continue to weaken the dollar. We're going to talk about that probably in tomorrow, if not on Wednesday's episode together here on the live stream. It's a really good one. I do not. So that's nearly 2 years of upside potential for the best performing assets. No one is seeing, in my opinion, a lot of people are talking about it, but there are no signs of hyperinflation taking place at this particular moment. And I do believe that the central banksters, that the Federal Reserve, that Jerome Powell and gang have the ability to go ahead and continue to pursue their goals, which is not helping you, but their goals of whatever they're trying to carry out, buying time until they're able to introduce the digital dollar. So I think that, and I don't think we're going to see any type of hyperinflation. If that were to occur, yes, then we would be seeing a super cycle. Of course, there's no question about that. What would happen over here? What would happen if I exited Bitcoin over here, right? And then would I be protecting myself in the futures markets if price went up and made a new all-time high? Of course. I'll walk you through it together. There's no question about that. Either which way, I do not see that occurring right now. I continue to stick to the model. This is a really interesting chart. It's completely wrong. They're saying right now that the Bitcoin, we're so early in the adoption cycle that about 7 million people globally, or 0.1%, own $100 more of Bitcoin. I mean, Coinbase has 53 million users, so I really doubt that 7 million people, right, globally. But let's say it was 200 million. Let's say it was 250 million. They're talking about by 2030, 2 billion people will own $100 or more. That is way early. And if you're watching these videos right now, if you're a part of this group, you have to understand how early you are in this adoption cycle. And it will be full of booms and busts, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that we capitalize off it, because the name of the game is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, because eventually Bitcoin is not going to be a $1 trillion market. Will it be a $3, $4, $5 trillion market this bull market phase? What about next one? Will it overtake the market cap of gold? Will it be a $10, $15 trillion market? That is enormous over there. That's why we do what we do. What else are we looking at here today, friends? Let's move over to Bitcoin. Let me see what's going on in the comments over here, just so I could kind of hang out and see what we're looking at. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. You guys are on it. 28 minutes in, right? So 23 minutes in. We almost had 1,000 likes. I want to see if they stay. We're at 912 likes. Let's see if YouTube keeps it up. Okay. Listen, thank you. This was a good session. I really genuinely need to cut it short for a few reasons. I need to go take care of my wife, right? So she's sick. I need to take care of her. It's really important. This is also a really busy week for us. I wanted to talk about that macro channel discussion that's taking place in the Discord group with all of you. That will happen either Tuesday or Wednesday. We're going to have 2 training sessions this week. One's going to cover my FX book and your weekly Forex recaps. The other is going to be focusing on price and exiting Bitcoin at the top. We're going to continue to make sure that we're aware of that. Probably next week, we'll be taking a look at that move, this tradable event that we were talking about over here on Bitcoin, from the move into alt, and we'll line that up with clarity so everyone has that cheat sheet to go over. I know this is a really short session. I do apologize for that, but it was a good one. We'll continue to take the conversation over on Twitter as it was over this weekend. I mean, this weekend on Twitter was really great. You guys just kept popping up with charts that were beautiful, full of information, really good questions. If you missed that and you want to see what's going on, come over here and look at my profile, look at tweets and responses. You could catch up at everything that happened. A big, big hug to all of you. Thank you for this morning. And let's go out with some honeymoon vocals. And then at that point, we'll see whether or not we come back and add anything to the conversation. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Gene, so much. Thank you, everyone. You guys got me going this morning because you're all so positive. It's contagious. I really am grateful for all of you. Thank you for helping form me and influence me. I'm grateful for you. Alan, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.